Forget what you've been hearing on the news. Charlotte prices aren't crashing. They're not even dropping either. Something else is happening and almost no one is explaining it. This market shift is giving buyers leverage they haven't seen in 3 years. So let's break down what's happening in Charlotte right now. Over the last few years, buying a home in Charlotte felt like a race. You toured a house on Tuesday, wrote an offer on Wednesday, and by Thursday, you were hoping no one came in higher. But that version of the market has changed, and there are 3 numbers that explain why. The number 1 is inventory. According to the Canopy MLS, the Charlotte region have close to 10,000 homes for sale in April 2025. That's more than 42% jump compared to the same time the year prior. A year earlier, there were about 6,424 homes on the market. By September, active listings climbed even higher, landing around 12,000. And the more inventory means buyers have room to slow down a little and compare options again. The number 2 is all about the days on market, CDOM. Last April, homes in Charlotte were going under contract around 37 days. This year, that number moved closer to 47 days and is picking up just a little bit. And keep this number in mind, because when we get into the seller side of the market in a few minutes, this is where people start losing money without realizing it. So stick around. Now, longer days on market means buyers have time to think again. They can revisit homes, compare neighborhoods, look at the numbers, and sleep on decision before truly jumping in. So that rush feeling from the last few years has eased up. Then the month of supply comes as a third factor. Even though this is more technical metric, it's one of the most important ones to understand. Months of supply measure how long it would take to sell every active listing if no new homes hit the market. A balanced market sits around 4 to 6 months. A strong seller's market sits under 2. Last year, Charlotte was sitting around 1.9 months of inventory and supply. By April, it climbed up to about 2.8. Then September, it reached 3.3 months, and we're still in a seller's market territory. But the direction of the market is pretty clear. So the pressure buyers were feeling a year or 2 ago is starting to cool off. Before we move on, if you're trying to figure out what this market shift means for your situation, whether you're buying, selling, relocating, or trying to time things, that's the kind of strategy conversation I have with clients every week. My contact information is down in the description below. All right, let's get back to it. Now, on the other hand, prices haven't followed the same shift, so let's cover that. We have seen the headlines telling us that the Charlotte market is starting to crack. But when you look at the numbers, that's not what's actually going on. The median sales price across the Charlotte region in April sat right around low $400,000 price point. That's still up about 2% compared to the same time last year. Inside Mecklenburg County, prices were sitting in the mid $400,000 price points, and in the city of Charlotte itself, you're looking more in the low $400,000 price. So prices hasn't taken off the way they did a few years ago, but they also haven't fallen apart. And depending on which part of the market you're truly looking at, price points are behaving differently these days. And we're going to dig into that later in the video, so stay tuned. Now, this shift is more about leverage changing than price drops. In April, sellers were getting around 96.8% of the original list price. A year earlier, it was close to 97.9%. That sounds like a tiny difference, but that's a big signal that most people realize. And when you look at the country as a whole, sellers have also started offering concessions again. Closing cost help, repair credits, and mortgage rate buydowns are the things buyers couldn't have asked for a couple of years ago. Right now, concessions are showing up in about 44% of the transaction nationwide, and Charlotte is moving right along the same type of a trend. So buyers are winning in the structure of the deal itself. That's where the leverage has shifted. And the interesting part is that change tends to hit sellers much harder than they expect once their home sits longer than planned days on market. Now, if you're a seller let me be straight with you for just a second. The same strategy that worked 2 years ago is the exact thing hurting sellers in today's market. For a while there, you could list a house on Friday and be looking at offers by Sunday. Keep it clean, price it somewhere close, and the market did the rest for you. That version of Charlotte isn't here anymore. Canopy NMLS reported that sellers still have negotiating power, but buyers are getting much more price sensitive. That's coming from the people watching this data every single day. Sellers have not lost control of the market. At 3.3 months of supply, Charlotte is still a seller's market across most areas. Places like Matthews, Waxhaw, Concord, and Kannapolis, we're still seeing sold buyer demand throughout the spring. But you have to earn the sale now. The homes moving are the ones coming to the market truly prepared. Things like fresh paint, staging done correctly, professional photographs, pre-inspection handled ahead of time, and small cosmetic issues already taken care of. Priced correctly from day one. Those homes are still moving fast, sometimes within days. But the listings struggling right now are the ones that are overpriced from the get-go, have older finishes, sellers hoping buyers will overlook obvious issues, and prep work that was skipped entirely. Those homes are sitting for 60 to 90 and plus days while the market moves around them. Everything else has to compete harder for buyers' attention today. And the way that plays out depends on the neighborhood, the price point, and the type of home that you're trying to sell. I often see people oversimplifying what's driving this split. There are multiple markets right now, and they are behaving in different ways depending on where you currently are. So I'll list some points that are contributing to this version of the market, starting with school districts, because they are a huge part of what's the true draw. The home zone for high-performing schools like Providence High, Myers Park High, and South Mecklenburg are still holding value well and moving faster than some of the surrounding areas. Once buyers have breathing room again, they start paying much closer attention to long-term lifestyle decisions. A couple of years ago, families were rushing to secure the house first and worrying about the schools later. That's changed. The second factor is community amenities. Things like pools, clubhouses, walking trails, tennis courts, fitness centers. These are things that, during the frenzy, buyers had no time to think about all these extra amenities. Now they're becoming part of the final decision between one neighborhood and the other. And then you've got the price point split happening underneath everything else. The luxury single-family homes above $700,000 price points have still been performing extremely well. The $600,000 to $700,000 move-up buy range has also stayed pretty active. But the pressure point right now is the entry-level market, under $350,000 price point. Part of that comes from inventory shortages in that range. Part of it comes from affordability pressure hitting first-time buyers harder than anyone else in the marketplace. So, different price ranges are reacting to this market in different ways in the exact city. And your specific neighborhood tells you more than the overall Charlotte averages ever will. At that point, the conversation shifts to how buyers and sellers can use all this information to make smarter decisions. After everything we covered so far, it's time for you to understand who is to play in today's Charlotte real estate market. As I said before, repeating the same strategy from years ago will not help you out currently for today. If you're a buyer, you have something the market took away from you a while ago: time. So use it wisely. You can go back for a second showing now. You can do a full inspection without feeling like another buyer is going to jump in the second you hesitate. And you can negotiate repairs, asking for closing cost help, or push for a mortgage rate buy down. And right now, in plenty of cases, sellers are saying yes. The buyers winning in this market understand they have leverage again, and they're comfortable using it. Don't waive inspections unless you absolutely need to. Watch the days on market in the exact neighborhood you're targeting, not just the Charlotte averages. A house sitting 60 days inside a strong school district is a different conversation than a listing that just hit the market yesterday. Now, on the other seller side, let me tell you this directly. Price for today's market, not last year's headlines. The strategy of listing high just to test the water gets expensive fast in this environment because buyers have more patience and more options than they had in years. And preparation is important again in a big way. I told you this already, but fresh paint, staging professionally, professional photos, pre-inspection done ahead of time, and small cosmetic fixes handled before their launch. These make a strong marketing from day one. The homes doing all that are still moving fast, and the homes that are skipping on those steps are the ones that are sitting collecting days on market. I've watched this same pattern happen over and over again. The sellers list too high, their home sits for 30 days, then a small price cut happens. And then another 30 days pass and another price cut happens. By the time the price lines up with the market, buyers think something is wrong with the house. That's the playbook in this version of Charlotte's market currently. The people winning in this market all figured out which version of the Charlotte market they're standing in before they make a move. Get that wrong and you're either overpay as a buyer or sit unsold as a seller, no matter what the headlines say. So if you want a real breakdown of what your area looks like right now before this market shifts deeper into the season, shoot me an email at mark@allbreak.com today with your timeline and what you're working with. And if you're now starting to wonder which Charlotte areas could see the biggest value shifts over the next few years, check out the video linked right here on Charlotte's transformation heading into 2030. Until next time, I hope to see you around town.